Hi, we have another very exciting Haunted with episode this month. And Corinne, will you give the background of how we found Sue?
Sure. Well, Sue Miller, she is local to the North Shore of Massachusetts, which is where we both live. And my friend
weird to say that.
Yeah, you live here too now.
We both live.
My friend Allison was at this like art festival in Marblehead and met Sue. And Sue does pet portraits and pet readings. So can communicate through the spirit world with the other side, with your pets, both deceased or whether they're here living or not. She basically can just like communicate with pets with the aid of her own pet who's passed.
Yeah, so like her spirit guide is her pet.
Yes. So Allison had a reading with Sue. She got a portrait of her cat Emma and a reading about Emma. But one of the things that like blew me away as Allison was telling me about her experience with Sue, which is why we reached out to Sue, was that Allison's parents, like cat sort of by proxy in the neighborhood, came through. And there was absolutely no way for Sue to know who this cat was. They live in a whole nother state. There was all this stuff that came through with that cat being present. And it just like blew my mind, the specifics and the details and the names and just everything. I was like, that is so wild. And I've always wanted to try to communicate with Wrinkles. Leia talks a lot, but we don't know what she's saying.
We can't understand her. We can't. But so we ended up reaching out to Sue and getting pet readings. And you'll hear all about the readings and hear about Sue's background and how she developed this ability or an understanding that she had this power. She's also just like this most beautiful, like soft-spoken, sweet woman that it was truly like, I felt peaceful spending time with her. Like she has a very calming energy.
I was like, oh, no wonder all the pets want to be around Sue.
Yeah. But one of the, to me, craziest experiences was around the same time that Sue was doing the reading, because so she basically did the readings beforehand.
We gave her information about our pets. She needed time to be able to like connect.
Tap in.
Yeah. It's not always like an on the spot thing. It's like, okay, give Sue a few days to kind of like let the connection happen and information kind of flow through.
Yeah. She goes into like a very meditative process.
Yeah. And she had done that the night before we met with her. The night before,
we were in
Fall River, Massachusetts.
Lizzie Borden house with Ash and Elena doing our paranormal investigation. And there was one moment in the night where I was sitting with the kids up on the third floor and playing with all these toys.
The ghost children.
The ghost children. Yes, correct. Ghost children. In Sue's reading.
Which like timestamp was when that was happening.
Like basically the exact same time. She was seeing me. I don't understand why I was wearing a clown outfit. That's a little strange. But maybe that's what the kids saw me as. I don't know. But she saw me wearing like a clown costume with balloons and being surrounded by kids. We didn't put any of that together until after the fact. So I thought, I mean, that was just wild to me.
Yeah, it is, because it's also like such a random thing.
So random.
It was interesting to see like kind of the information that Sue just gets from the paranormal world and then what the animals decide to share. And it certainly made me super intrigued and wanting to have way more experiences where I try to connect with Wrinkles and with any other animals. Like, why can't I connect with the squirrels in my backyard?
Your weasel.
My weasel.
Your weasel.
I actually do need to have a conversation with my weasel
What
because
happened?
I know I like what he's doing. I want him to do more of it.
Okay. What are you going to give him in exchange? Leave him like a bowl of porridge or something.
Well, he gets more mice. He gets more food in exchange. I just want him to know that
he's doing a good job.
He can come in and out.
Positive affirmation makes you work harder.
Yes. Yeah. He doesn't have to hide. He can come grab a snack whenever he needs.
But before we go on a weasel tangent, here is our episode with Sue.
We're very excited to speak with you and to meet you. Because Allison had such great things to say about you and your reading that you did with Zoe. So I was like, oh my gosh, we have to reach out to Sue when you had planned to come to Marblehead. So we're stoked that you were available and that you were willing to do this with us.
I really appreciate it. It's such a treat to come in and talk and play in the spiritual sandbox, so to speak, with people that are open-minded and open-hearted. You don't really do that with most people.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love this. It's so much fun.
Yeah. I know. We've built this like really incredible community that just makes it feel so normal and regularizes the paranormal experiences. Like so many people who have felt isolated in the past with their experiences now, I feel like have a community, and it's like,
Yeah.
it's a really beautiful thing. It feels so normal for us now.
It feels normal for us. Well, we've been doing, we're almost
7
at
years.
7 years
Yeah.
of doing the
Wow.
podcast,
Wow.
Yeah.
talking
Okay.
about this.
Yeah.
And then we both lived haunted lives
I was gonna
leading up to
say,
the inception
you
of the podcast.
You probably have your
Mhm.
own like stories to tell, and
So many.
Plenty.
Yeah.
So many.
Yeah.
Awesome.
But I think with our podcast community too, one of the big things that comes up time and time again is obviously like communicating with loved ones. And so many people seek out
Exactly.
guidance from mediums and psychics. And, like I live right by Salem, like have always
Mhm.
been in such close proximity to Salem. So it's a treat to get to extend that today to pets.
Especially
As a
because we
loved one.
all wish we could communicate with our pets.
Yeah.
Like we wish we could speak with
Eliza
them.
Thornberry.
Yeah. And understand them. Yeah. I mean, we have so many questions for you, but you teased that you grew up in a haunted house or lived in a haunted
I
house
did.
in Marblehead. So I feel it. And you said that's kind of how you started.
Yes.
So let's hear it.
Okay, sure. So me and my boyfriend at the time, he's now my husband, but we went into this apartment. It was beautiful. It was probably 3 years old. It's a big apartment complex up on Peach Highlands. And yeah, okay.
I know where that
You know where it is.
is.
When we walked in, I could feel something really odd. And I was not doing any of this
Mhm.
at all. And I was just like, this feels weird in here. But we really loved it. Was granite, everything, the whole nine. It was
Yeah,
really beautiful. So we
beautiful.
moved in. And the first week, my boyfriend at the time was out. So I was alone with my dog, Rufus. And I was just petting him, and I was giving him belly rubs.
Aw.
He's my guy. And he did this little sigh. And I thought, oh, you're so cute. And then right after he did this little sigh, in the upper corner of the room on the ceiling, I heard this.
Oh
my gosh.
Imagine my surprise.
Yeah.
And I froze. I'm like, what was that? So I got up and I ran around the place and I turned all the lights on, and I was so scared. I was like, no, I'm not doing this. And I told my boyfriend, and he had a similar experience
Mhm.
a little down the road. And so things started happening that the TV would go off and on.
Mhm.
Nothing else would be turned off. I had an electric toothbrush that went on at 3 a.m. every day. 3 a.m. while I'm sleeping in the bathroom. I'm like, are you kidding me? So
Did your husband at the time, boyfriend, did he also have an electric toothbrush? Was it only yours?
it was only mine.
I love that the
Interesting.
ghost is using your toothbrush.
They were using my
Your
toothbrush.
toothbrush. At least
Right?
they care about
Probably
hygiene.
It was like less chewed, less
Yeah.
frayed. They're
Right?
like, we'll use the nicer toothbrush. Here's yours.
So after I would brush my teeth at night, I would wrap it in a towel and put it outside.
Did it stop it?
I don't know. I couldn't hear it.
Okay.
I shut the door. I'm like, done.
Protect your
It was
toothbrush.
ridiculous. So, and one time, my boyfriend got up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom, and outside we had a street light shining in, so he didn't turn any lights on. And there was the wall right here, and he looks over at the wall, and he sees his shadow on the wall, but there's another shadow within his shadow.
Oh,
and
that's so creepy.
a head with a neck, and it was going like this,
Ew. Oh, God.
and it was looking at him like,
I was going to ask if he had experiences.
yes, he
So
did.
Okay.
Yeah. So we hired a medium
Mm-hmm.
to get rid of the guy. And it definitely was a strong, angry male.
Mm-hmm.
And so the medium did her thing, and he went away. She took him to the other side, to
Oh,
the
that's
light.
nice. Yeah.
And he never showed up again.
Wow.
However, we still had things in there.
Yeah.
We had a portal right before the master bedroom. And every time I walked right before I got into the master bedroom, there was this icky feeling. And I didn't know what it was. It's a portal that they were coming in and out of.
Oh.
And every night, like I would go to bed before my boyfriend, and I would turn the lights off. I'd run into bed and I'd put the covers up like this and just hoping nothing happened. And every single night, like as soon as I got into bed, I heard them come in. It was like
multiple,
like a lot. And like this wave of spirit coming in. And they all were like right there. scared me.
Yeah, of
All
course.
night.
Did it feel like they were just watching you?
Yes, I always felt watched. I don't feel
Interesting.
like they were bad.
Yeah.
I feel like in most cases, they're kind of stuck. You know, they're kind of stuck. They don't know they're there,
Yeah.
or they don't know how to go to the light,
Right.
or someone here is so despondent that they don't want to leave them. There's a lot of reasons why they stay.
Yeah.
There was one other incident I want to share. I was waking up and I was still kind of groggy. You know, you're in that in
Half
between.
sleep, yeah.
And I heard this. She was from the Bronx, New York. She had this Bronx, New York, and she was right above my head. And I heard her go, "Oh my God, no way!" and then as soon as I heard that, I woke up and she was gone.
Do you think she was
surprised?
Surprised that she was experiencing that too?
Maybe. I don't know.
I like to also imagine, I mean, I've astral traveled before and kind of accidentally, but I like to picture that this is a woman who's been trying to practice astral traveling and it worked.
Finally
She's
worked.
like, no way.
I bet that's true. Yeah, that makes sense. Anyway, all of that was happening. And I've always been fascinated by this stuff. I never just really did anything, but it was right in front of my face. I was living in it. So I hired the medium to do a reading. And it just was so like, oh my God, heartfelt, connecting into my relatives and for the first time that had passed and all that. So from there, I started listening to spiritual summits. I followed a psychic medium and I learned a lot from her. And she would always say, know your gifts and share them with the world.
Oh,
and that always
really beautiful.
stuck with me. It stuck with me. And she's right.
Yeah.
And then I was curious about everything. So I did a year and a half shamanic study. You know, I hired a local spirit teacher to show me how to connect in with the archangels because they were coming in and I wanted to do it on purpose.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And I learned that. And all this while I'm giving my friends and family readings and just practicing. And then I'm like, you know, I've always connected to animals. They're my first love.
Yeah.
And so I decided, you know, I heard about this woman who was teaching animal communication. So I took her class. It was an in-house class. The culmination of all my research and my curiosity and practicing kind of comes to this point now. And I didn't even talk about my art, but I really started my art journey up again after I started my spiritual journey.
Yeah.
Because it brings me joy. So I just decided to combine everything together. Why not?
Right.
And my Rufus, he was a Bichon. I had him for 18 and a half years.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow.
He's my soul dog.
Yeah.
He's really the inspiration for what I'm doing now because I knew how I felt losing him after so long, and 18 and a half. We were tight. I had a dog walking service for 21 years and he was like my manager.
Oh, that's so cute.
Keep everyone in line.
He's like head of the pack.
No,
let me show you the way.
In this dog walking pack.
He absolutely did. So I fell in love with all the dogs I walked. They were like family to me. So when they started passing one by one, it was really hard.
Yeah.
And then Rue passed and I was like, I got to do something with this because I have these gifts and I want to share them with people that are hurting.
Yeah.
You know, and not just people that have lost their pets, but also people with pets that want to get closer to them, want to understand the relationship better.
Yeah.
So that's what I did. I decided to combine my art in pet portraits, and my voice is getting shaky now because I don't talk a lot.
Well, we love hearing this. This is beautiful. I also love, I mean, we've heard a lot of stories about how, you know, any creative art is such an expression of self, but I imagine that when you're painting the animal, you get closer to the spirit and can access them more.
That's a great point. What's interesting is before I do the pet portraits as a package combined with the animal readings. And what's really cool and interesting is that after we agree on what picture to use as a reference, I start painting the pet and their energy comes in.
Oh.
And I'll give you a couple examples. So this woman, she lost her dog of 16 years. She's single and he was her everything, right? His name was Benny. When I started painting Benny's beautiful face, and I'm feeling fine. I'm happy to do this.
Yeah.
I got this wave of emotion all through me, and it was pure bliss. It was joy that I've never felt before.
Oh my gosh.
And that was from Benny.
Did it startle you to feel that as intensely as you did?
Not at all. I'm like, oh, it felt
Yeah.
really good.
This
I'm
is
like,
so beautiful.
oh my God, thank you.
Yeah.
And with that, I got a clear cognizance, a clear knowing. And what he said was, I want my mom to know that where I am is pure bliss and pure joy. So I don't want her to worry about me because I'm really good.
Wow.
And there's so much relief that comes with that, to hear that.
It's healing.
This is so beautiful.
Isn't it?
Have you ever had a reading where, because I know you said that in the readings, the animals always come through as like very positive and happy. But have you ever had one where it felt more stuck, like there was more involvement needed to help the animal on the other side?
I have never felt that. They know they're transitioning. In fact, they plan ahead to transition for their transition.
I mean, I think animals are just so intuitive and so beautiful. I had a dog growing up who, she was one of those dogs that like you never had to put on a leash. She, would stop at a stop sign, look both ways and like cross the road.
Yeah.
But when she was 16, she decided to like run away to die. Like she knew that she was going to pass away. Yeah. And so, it's this like really beautiful thing of like, they know what's going to happen. And she was almost trying to protect us.
Absolutely. So the other thing that he did, it wasn't even a minute later, I got this overwhelming emotion of deep sorrow. And I started crying. And like before I was like, I'm feeling good, but I wasn't feeling that good. So I know it's not me. And then I wasn't sad at all. So I know it's not me. So he sent this deep sorrow. And the knowing was, I'm so sad that we can't be together anymore physically.
Yeah.
So he sent that as well. Those are kind of things that kind of pop up.
Yeah.
I've had other happenings. So this one yellow lab passed and I started painting him and nothing happened. And so I went to bed and I started falling asleep. And out of the blue, I see this piece of green cloth and it was like right in my face. I'm like, wow. I mean, you couldn't miss it. And I heard the word green.
Oh.
And I'm like, I don't know. Okay.
Like, okay.
I'll write that one down and figure it out later.
Means something. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, after she read her reading, she told me that when she went to pick out a puppy in, the pack, they, instead of naming them, they color coded the puppies.
Is he green?
And he was green.
No
like they put green collar on him.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, I want the green one. Yeah.
That's really, really beautiful.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah. And like it's such a special message that they will absolutely understand.
Yeah, it's very specific.
Yeah.
That person will understand.
And what they're doing, even before the reading, is letting me know they're there. They're aware. They know I'm painting them. They're sharing some things. That is like an evidential mediumship moment, right?
Right.
Where they do that.
Yeah.
And I've had a lot of those. And that's like the best part of this whole thing is when they validate.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
They validate. I did a reading for a woman. It's the same woman that had Benny. And I asked them, would you please show me something that only you and your mom know? Like I wouldn't know. So he showed me, he went up to her and pressed his forehead into her. And they went like this, both of them. So I put that in the reading. And that's when she said she lost it. She would even say, foreheads, that was their thing, she said. That's how they connected in with each other. And so that was for her so calming and peaceful. And it was closure for her.
Yeah.
That to know that all these messages from Benny were peaceful, loving, blissful.
Seriously.
And like, this is what we used to do, Mom, remember?
Yeah.
I feel so honored to be able to do this. And the packages that I put together are like experiences. They're not just paper and paint and words. They're an experience.
Yeah. in the reading that you gave to us, you talk about your process and going into your room to connect and inviting our spirit. And then can you talk a little bit more about what your process is?
Sure. Everything needs a preparation, and you can't, I don't know, maybe there are people that can just sit down and go, okay, here we go. Maybe there are, but this is how I learned.
Yeah.
And so you prepare your space where you're sitting and you ground it into Mother Earth. You bring Mother Earth's nurturing energy in and very high vibration. And then you call on source energy, universal energy, God energy, whatever you want to call it. And you bring that energy in, and it's very high vibration, the highest. And it's peaceful and loving. So, and protective. Nothing comes in except for love.
Yeah.
I also bring in the archangels, and then we're ready. Before that, I get myself in tune. It's really about tuning your body in to that vibration, because we're all energy and we all have vibration.
Yeah.
As you know. So the ones in spirit are higher, right? And we're in our bodies and we're dense. So it takes us a little bit more to kind of raise our vibration up to meet them kind of halfway. And that's mediumship. That's channeling. So I am connected in. So then I'm ready to invite you in. So I invite your higher self, your spirit. And anything can happen. You can be dressed up in something. You can be wearing, it runs the gamut.
Did you come dressed as anything?
I had high heels on.
You had high heels on.
And I was extremely impatient.
You were really impatient.
It was an accurate
That
read.
sounds like you.
It was accurate.
It was very accurate.
Okay.
I came dressed up as a clown.
She was
you were a
I don't
clown.
know what that was about.
Yeah, and you said that I made sure to clarify that it was a silly clown, not a scary clown.
You said, make sure now this is a cute clown.
Which is funny because I feel like I would be like, I'm a scary clown.
You like to scare people.
Maybe my higher self is not as scary.
It's a little less intense than it is down here on planet Earth.
My grounded self is like, I'm going to be a scary person.
So yeah, that's funny. And you were impatient. And before I even called you in, I saw you walking back and forth and back and forth.
I'm running out of time, Sue.
Yeah.
I have things to do.
You also like to be early.
Yeah.
Yes.
I show up like 20 minutes early to everything.
Yeah.
So that kind of fits.
Yes. That's so funny.
It's funny.
I was like, man, I really need to calm down if even my higher self is like, there's not enough time.
Once I call you in, stuff like that happens. And then I call your guides in, and either or are combined, your spirit and your guides come in, and 9 times out of 10, they bring up something that's in your subconscious that you need to look at, that you're not aware of, or you kind of know, but you swept it under the rug.
Right.
And by the way, I do get a lot of sweeping under the rugs. That
I think
visual,
you mentioned that. Yeah. Do you visually see them? Do they just show up, or do you hear them? What do they look like?
Any way they want to come in. A lot of them come in as really, really tall, like really tall. Sometimes they're really crisp and clear and I can see them. Sometimes they're fuzzy, but I'm not supposed to see them. It's like I'm supposed to feel into it.
Yeah.
I think it was you. They were really super nurturing. Like it was
I think that was mine. You said there were 3.
mothering.
There were 3
Yeah.
very tall, motherly beings that came forward.
It was very sweet energy. They said, if you ever feel like you need some mothering or nurturing, call on them. Their energy will come in and soothe you.
I certainly will. I'm someone who tends to just kind of like depend on myself. And I probably should tap into
definitely
that more.
Oh, yeah.
Getting help, even if it's from them.
Yeah.
So from there, they usually, like I said, bring in something that needs your attention. And I'll give you an example. This one woman came in, sweet energy. She was, it's kind of funny. I'm like, what are you doing? She walked in throwing road salt in front of her.
Wow.
She was like throwing road salt. And then I heard, proceed with caution.
Oh.
And I'm like, wow, okay, I don't know what that's about. So I asked, and the knowing that I got was that she had a childhood trauma. And because of that trauma, which she still carries to this day, she developed a core belief about her in the world and what the world was. So her core belief was, I am not safe, I am not protected, I'm not secure. So she's lived her life probably without knowing, but sort of knowing. And when you have that core belief, it really influences the way you live, right? It's sort of debilitating.
Yeah.
So she lived her life in a box because she's scared to get out of it, right? Scared to feed her soul, scared to find her joy, right? Your guides don't want that. Spirit doesn't want that. Your higher self doesn't want that. You're meant to be here to advance and grow as a spiritual being. And just being in that box won't do it. So they brought that to her attention. And later she confirmed that that was true. So that is the beauty of, we haven't even gotten to the pet yet in the reading, although they do sometimes through the painting. It's fascinating. The stuff is so fascinating to me. And, I just kind of sit back and let it happen. I am just, in shamanic terms, I'm the hollow bone. It just comes through me. I'm the conduit or the facilitator. After that, I invite your animal in physical or in spirit. It doesn't matter. Everybody has energy. It's really cool. So they come in and they share something about the personality. I think yours was like, she came in like huge. She filled the whole room. She's black, right?
She's white.
She's white?
Yeah.
She came in as black.
Interesting.
Yeah.
She is giant, though. She's like half the size of Sabrina. Like physically. She's huge.
Maybe that's what she was trying to tell me. No, she came in as this huge black cat.
Well, that's also interesting because I've always said I wanted to have a black cat. And so maybe her spirit is a black cat.
It could be. Yeah. So I've had animals come in where I know what they look like, but they look totally different. Like they wanted this one, I think I shared with you. Cosmo is one of the dogs that I used to walk, and he passed about 5 years ago. And I connected in with him, and he was a little Havanese. He was so cute and short, little white dog. He had little legs like this. He came in with these long, long legs. In fact, so long that he was eye level with me.
Wow.
Yeah. Like, I'm like, what?
His presence is bigger than his body that he was given.
I like that he has like supermodel legs.
Yeah.
Watch me prance.
Exactly. It was so cute. So
really
they come in however they want to come in.
Yeah. Here, I'll show you a picture of Leia now
please.
So you can see.
Oh, there she is.
Yeah.
Oh, totally what I did not see.
That's so funny.
It's really interesting too. I was actually very shocked that Wrinkles, you said, presented as a pug.
Yes.
Which is the only dog breed that he was actually terrified of. He didn't recognize them as being dogs, we don't think, because of their breathing. Because he would be so nervous around them.
A lot of dogs are.
Yeah. It was like, yeah. So I was like, what the heck? Why did he choose a pug?
That's amazing.
Unless he's trying to heal his own fears.
Right. They heal on the other side too.
Maybe that's what he will come back as in your life.
Could be.
You think I'm going to get a pug?
I don't know.
Maybe.
What kind of dog does Brian want?
Oh, he wants a Frenchie. My husband
which is
kind of
French
bulldog.
Aren't they kind of similar?
Which is pug-like.
Yeah.
I love the Frenchies. They're really cute.
Yeah. Is there any, do they tell you why they're choosing themselves?
Yes. So they come in and first explain, show a little bit of their personality. And then, I ask them questions that people want to be asked. And I try to limit it to 1 or 2 questions because it can go on and on. And then I always ask, why are you in your person's life? Because that's what it's really all about. Like your connection with your animal.
Yeah.
What's the deal? Like, why are they here?
Yeah.
Or we're here?
Of all the animals, why do you get partnered with the ones that you have? Yeah.
Because don't you feel sometimes like they pick you?
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Or that there's synchronicities that build up to you meeting that dog or that cat?
Absolutely.
It's happened to me more than once. So I ask them, why are you with this person? And they give me all kinds of answers. I'll take, his name was Lucky. He passed last year, and I asked him, why were you in your mom's life, and are you still in your mom's life? And he said, my job was to show her, this was the same woman that felt unsafe, to show her that I was protecting her and that I wanted her to feed her soul. Like, get out of that box. It's okay. And I asked him how he does that. And he said, it's just the way I walk. It's the way I am around her. My energy, she picks up on, and it's the way I look at her. Like my soul connects to her soul through And she confirmed that.
Wow.
And she actually had 2 dogs, and Lucky was the green dog. And he passed, but she still has Angel still physically here. And so those 2 were working together. And Angel told me, because I did reading with her too, she told me she was teaching her mom joy, kind of reintroducing joy because of her insecurities and whatnot that she was dealing with, that it's very important to have joy. And this animal was the most joyous dog I've connected in. Like, I felt it in my
That's so
heart.
sweet.
And she told me to tell her mom to call her Angel Joy. And she was funny too. She said, because joy is a high vibrational word as well, and so is angel.
Mm-hmm.
So when you combine them, she said it's like double espresso.
That's so cute.
So witty.
Double the vibes, she
That's
said.
so cute.
Isn't that cute? I love this stuff. I love it.
Do you connect with Rufus a lot? Like, is Rufus
I do.
with
In
you
fact,
still?
like I sign my readings, Sue and Rufus, because he's a part of it. I connected with him. In fact, right after he passed, he made sure that I saw him, that I felt him.
Yeah.
Oh, there was one time pretty close to after he passed, I was folding my blanket and this huge presence of him came in. I knew he was there. It's like, knock me over the head with it. I know you're here, Ru. Thank you. And he came in the dreams a lot.
Yeah.
Because that's when your mind is at rest and they can come in.
Yeah.
In fact, that's how most of them do it initially. Oh my God, he was like right here. And towards the end of his life, he couldn't really walk down the stairs anymore. So I'd always carry him down the stairs. So in the dream, it almost didn't feel like a dream, like I was semi-awake. And he came in and he showed me sitting on the stairs, like, hey, Mom, I can use the stairs again.
Oh, that's
Does he look like he did in his life?
Yes, he does. And one time I was standing in my kitchen and there's a little hallway to the living room. And I don't know why, but I just happened to look down and I saw him. I saw his ghost. I saw his spirit.
Wow.
It was I was like, oh, thank you so much.
That is really
because
cool.
I was so hurt. I can't even tell you how hurting I was, you know?
I'm sure.
Yeah.
There was such an empty void. And it's really amazing that I can talk about it now without crying because I couldn't, like, I'm almost there.
Yeah.
But he's just my world. And so I, on purpose, bring him in.
That's really, really nice.
And it's so wonderful.
Yeah.
And recently, he just kind of reiterates or validates that he is here. Like, he came in and he sat on my left. He's always on my left usually, but for me, left means the past. So he was sitting here and he's saying, yes, I was in your past in the physical. But then he was also sitting here at the same time. And my right is present tense. So I'm like, oh, which one are you? So he was telling me, I'm acknowledging the time that we had together as, you know, in the physical. And it was wonderful. And I really enjoyed it. But I'm still here and I'm in spirit.
That's
and
beautiful.
I'm on the right side. Isn't that cool?
That is really cool.
Very cool.
Yeah.
It makes me curious. Have you ever had a reading where the animal is considering or like tells you that they'll return to this life? Like, I'm almost curious about the reincarnation potential to show up as another pet or a family member or something like
I've
that.
I've never had that.
Okay.
Because I've never asked that. So that's a really good question to ask next time. But they're really happy with where they are. And, you know, they had a purpose in life, in our lives, in the physical, but they continue it when they're over there.
Right.
Because they want you to notice them. They want you to see them. They want you to feel them.
Yeah.
Because they're kind of helping you exercise your psychic muscles, right? Because we all are born with them. We all have them. And to feel it and to know it, they're kind of getting you there. Right? Yeah. I don't know about reincarnation.
Do you ever feel like, I guess, because you did both of our readings pretty quickly in the same time, do you ever feel like after doing a reading, the animal that you had connected to comes through to you at another time, later after the reading, and how do you decipher which pet it was and if there's another message that they have?
That's a great question. They always let me know who they are.
Okay.
And after, when I'm closing the reading, I disconnect from their energy.
Mm-hmm.
I tell them, thank you so much. Go in love and light. I see them close the door
Oh.
and their guides. And then I go to you and I say, thank you, love, go in love and light.
Mm-hmm.
And I disconnect from your energy and your guides. You can leave. So I see you close the door.
Mm.
And then I call all my energy back into me
Mm-hmm.
because it can be, it pulls on your energy.
Of course,
You're mingling it.
Yeah.
So I call all my energy back into my body and make sure I'm in alignment with myself.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm done.
Wow.
Yeah. Cool, huh?
That's super cool. And it's a great process too, because I think a lot of people, us included, who have curiosity in this and have some like natural abilities that have presented themselves, it's always like the fear of, well, how do you not lose yourself, or how do you not call something dark in, or like how do you do things correctly, I guess.
Yeah.
Right.
And so it is nice. It's like you have this process.
Yeah.
And you know how to go in with positivity and love.
And it feels like you've really like perfected your process.
I'm pretty good. I mean, I'm very confident in what I do.
Good.
Because of how it comes out. Like, I'm like, and it's funny, like when I do the readings and sometimes I'm like, I don't know, that's, I'm going to give it to, like, I have to detach from it.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, I so want you to have an experience.
Right.
But I need to detach from it. And then I've never had someone come back to me and say, that reading really sucked. Would you do another? And maybe there could be better ones, but the majority of people come back and say, oh my God, that was like, I now have peace. I know she's with me and she's.
Yeah.
It
is a really beautiful gift that you're able to give to people.
And as far as the dark, it never happens.
Wow.
I do that safe container. I bring in the light of God, and there's no room for dark in there.
Yeah. Animals are also such protectors too.
I know.
That I think like when Wrinkles had passed away, we still occasionally will feel his presence especially when we're all home together in the childhood home, and he'll occasionally come up maybe like once every year or two in my dreams, and then I'll really know it's like not really just a random dream about Wrinkles, but like he'll make it known that it's a visitation, and then I'll tell my parents. So occasionally now we'll feel his presence, but for 6 months after he passed, he was very active in our house, and our house was a very haunted house. And when he was patrolling in the spirit realm, it was silent with all the other spirits. So we were like, ooh, he finally is on like the same playing ground as them.
And they
he's
can't
like,
mess with
wrap
you.
it up and leave, folks. Wrap it up.
What kind of dog was he?
He was a mutt. We actually adopted him from our neighbors a couple doors down from us in Vermont. They adopted a dog they did not know was pregnant with 3 separate litters at the same time.
Oh my gosh.
That's wild.
Yeah,
What?
she was a stray. He had one like full brother and then I guess a bunch of half siblings from the other litters. But he was, what the vet thought he was part Greyhound, Shar-Pei, and Chow, and Black Lab.
Ooh,
I'll find a picture of him. He was a very unique looking dog. He looked a bit like a Doberman. He had like the big barrel chest. He would run really, really fast. And he had like golden eyes. He was very, very sweet.
Golden eyes.
Yeah.
Ooh.
He was very regal.
Awesome.
But his name is Wrinkles because he was super wrinkly when he was born because he was part Shar-Pei. And after 3 months, he had no wrinkles.
No wrinkles.
Wrinkles the smooth dog. He ruined. He was born with all the skin he'd ever have. He grew into it.
He went backwards instead of like being old
like
with
Benjamin
wrinkles.
Button,
He was Benjamin Button.
So
he
cute.
did Benjamin Button us. Yeah, my parents used to call him Clifford, or like joke that he was Clifford because he just kept growing. Because he was also the runt of the litter.
Oh my
Wow.
gosh.
So he was like the smallest and like little wrinkles, and then, he
blossomed.
He blossomed, and we met
So
some of
cute.
his other like throughout time. We met some of his other like siblings.
Yeah.
He was the biggest dog.
Oh my God.
Out of all of them, it was wild.
Do you ever, when you're just communicating with friends, family, or, even if you just meet someone like at the grocery store, do you ever see a spirit or a pet come through?
Yes.
Just a normal conversation? Yeah.
Yeah. I'll give you a really quick thing. I invited a girlfriend over. This was several years ago. I invited her over for dinner.
Mm-hmm.
My husband wasn't home. So we were alone. We were sitting there and she was talking. And all of a sudden I see, and I saw it with my eyes. It wasn't in my third eye. I saw it. So it was projection, third eye projection. And her mother came through.
Wow.
Full on, this big round face, big smile, a straw hat with flowers on it, black and white striped shirt. I mean, I saw everything.
So detailed. Yeah.
So detailed. And she's talking, and I'm looking at her. I'm like, I need to interrupt you. And when they come in, they let you know the relation of, So she's smiling and standing there. I'm like, did your mom wear straw hats with flowers on them? She goes, every day. I said, oh, I think she's here.
Well, there's a lady next to you.
Yeah,
who looks
she's
just like that.
So when I said that, she walked over to her and touched her arm and leaned over and kissed her on the cheek.
Oh, that's
it was
so
the
precious.
sweetest,
That is so beautiful.
amazing thing. And I told her that. And of course, she started crying.
Yeah.
Her name was Rose. And then on the opposite side of her, this man appeared, and he was really tall and skinny. He told me it was her uncle. I said, did you have a really tall and skinny uncle? And she said, yes, that was her brother, and they were best friends. I said, well, they're both
together.
Yeah, they're both together, and they're here.
That's so
and he did the
sweet.
same thing that she did. He leaned over and gave her another kiss on the other side. And of course, she's in tears and everything.
Of course.
She wasn't expecting it. She was coming over for dinner.
Spaghetti and meatballs. Yeah.
I didn't even
true.
I wasn't expecting it. I wasn't trying anything. And that was all on Rose. She created the situation. She knew I could do that. And she did it. And it was a wonderful experience. It's really cool.
That is really
That's
cool.
so cool.
This is such a beautiful, we spend a lot of time, we cover all varieties of topics, but I do feel like a lot of the stories we end up discussing have like darker themes and there are a lot of scary parts to the paranormal, but this is just so refreshing and positive and peaceful.
It is. And I love playing in it because I benefit from it and my heart expands and my energy is really good. And it's all love.
Yeah.
It's all about love.
Yeah. Yeah.
How bad can that be? Right.
So you did readings for us.
Yes.
For me and Leia, and then for you and Wrinkles.
Me and Rinks.
Yeah.
Wrinkles the smooth dog.
Were there any really big things about the readings? I mean, we have these, we can talk about specifics, but are there any big things that really stood out to you during the readings?
For you, Corinne, it was the impatience. Like, it really came out strong. Like, you're walking back and forth and back. I didn't even call you in yet. And you're walking back and forth, back and forth, and back and forth. And then when you came in, you had like the sunshiny energy, right? The guides told me she has this, that's her superpower. So what they always, like, everyone has their own unique gifts to give to the world energetically. And I always call it the superpower. And that was yours. What they brought up is you can light up a room, but they also combined it with the impatience that,
So funny.
it's something to look at.
Yeah.
And when you came in and sat down, you had so much to do. Like, it was really like, I got overwhelmed with how you were being. Can we hurry up? It's like, I know this is important, but I have stuff to do.
I feel that so much right now too, because we more recently, like in the past year, moved into our house and have a bunch of construction projects going on. Then our baby's due in June. So we're like trying to finish the house, prep everything in the podcast ahead of time so I can actually take maternity leave, prepare for the baby. Like, I haven't found a pediatrician. Like, there's so many things on my list.
That's a lot.
But every day, it was interesting that you were like, sometimes you feel so overwhelmed that you just end up being behind because you're anxious and overwhelmed by being anxious and overwhelmed.
Yes. It's a nasty spiral.
It is. Yeah. I was like, oh my God.
Spot
Sue
on.
has totally got me right now. But not even right now. It's been a recurring theme.
But you use humor too.
You do. Yeah, you do.
Yeah, I do. I use a lot of humor, a lot of self-deprecating humor sometimes too.
Whatever works.
But that's what works.
That's awesome.
When people get too serious, it doesn't work with me.
Yeah. So with you and Leia, I don't know if it resonated at all, but I didn't expect to see all these little children
That was so fascinating.
around in a perimeter, like in a circle.
Wait, was Sabrina surrounded by kids?
Yeah.
And I was giving balloons to
She was giving balloons out to kids.
and I was dressed up as a clown. We did just do a paranormal investigation, and I sat and read a bedtime story to the children in the house.
Maybe, oh my God, that's what it was. That's what it was.
Yeah.
It could be.
They're acknowledging.
Because honestly, it matches, like, the day that you were working on these readings is the day that also happened.
Okay.
Was it Monday night?
Yeah.
Monday.
Yeah. That was really strong. I don't understand the clown thing.
Yeah, me neither.
But-
To be honest, I don't either.
Yeah, it was the children because I had no idea what that meant. But
yeah. I mean, I have a niece too.
Mm-hmm.
And then
You love kids, though,
I do
too.
love kids.
I feel like whenever...
And I would like to have kids eventually.
Yeah, our friends that have kids, too, I think you put a lot of effort into seeing those kids.
I like to think of myself as the creepy aunt to your
Yeah.
unborn son. I did love, and I almost like want an animation of this because Leia loves to talk on the podcast. Like she'll come in and she'll meow and people love to hear her.
Oh.
But the imagery of her standing on her back paws, taking the microphone and like taking over the podcast.
Right, she totally did that.
That's so funny.
She totally did. But the crickets, like we're on a roll and she's telling me to do a dictation. Like I'm her secretary. And
didn't she say like to whom it may concern?
She started
She's
out
been practicing.
To whom it may concern. I'm like, really? That's what you're going to say?
Funny.
The audience isn't just you, Sabrina. It's
No,
whoever will
it's
listen
everyone.
to her.
Yeah.
To whom it may concern. And then I think she said, my mom is brilliant. You should all know that. And then she stopped. She didn't say any more. I'm like, come on. We're on a roll. This is great.
It's like when you're like in the mirror and you're practicing your Grammys speech and you didn't actually think,
she didn't think it through.
put much thought into the opportunity coming to her that she'd get to make one.
You did ask if she was a bit skittish, and she can be.
Yeah, I got that from her.
She gets overwhelmed by like loud noises and too many people around.
Yeah.
If it's quiet, she is like the most loving cat. But if there's, a bunch of strangers, she does tend to like go be a little bit more reserved.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know if it was just, she was just like, okay, I said a few things and now I'm on my way.
Yeah. I don't know.
Her confidence was waning towards the end. She's
that did surprise me too when she took the mic. Like it was second nature to her. She's like, all right, I'm doing this.
I mean, it's
She's
been
doing it for
6.5 years that she's used to it.
So
she's a podcaster.
She's like, I'm there.
She is.
I'm doing it. And what really surprised me and made me laugh, I know I'm connected all throughout this, but when they surprise me with things that come out of left field and it makes me laugh, I love it. When Wrinkles came in, it was like in a cartoon form with a ghost costume on and the big eyes.
Oh, yeah.
Looking out
You put that
with
at the,
that's
the end of the reading.
Because I said, is there anything else you want to share? And he said, yeah. And he didn't say anything and I was waiting and boom, he's like this ghost.
That's so cute.
It was really cute. It's funny.
It is really
caught me
cute
off
too
guard.
because our listeners have a lot of hauntings that happen to them and kind of like increased activity after they listen to our podcast. And we joke that we have a spirit attached to our podcast named Sven. He's been given a name by the listeners, but there have been plenty of times where people joke that it's Wrinkles.
Mm-hmm.
And so I like the idea that if he's not listening, maybe sometimes he is responsible for
the
a few
hauntings.
of the little things that happen.
That's actually really cute.
Yeah.
That is
And
cute.
He's dressing up as the ghost.
That's his message to you. Yeah.
It's like, just so you know,
Sometimes he takes over Sven's role.
little prankster.
So cute.
That's awesome.
That's really cute.
Oh, I love that.
We were hoping, so I had told my parents and my brother that I was having this reading with you. And so you might have been like, what the heck was that one question when I was like, what happened that night when the sweater was in the other room?
Yeah,
Like,
it was kind of off center.
it's been such a mystery for my family for years because Wrinkles, when we would come home, he was never a dog that waited at the door for you.
Mm-hmm.
He was taking every second of opportunity to be on the couch he wasn't allowed to be on. So until you like were physically in the door, he wouldn't like saunter out of that room until he knew he was about to be caught. And we came home one night and he was like shivering and scared and awkward. And he was laying on the cold tile by the back door, like in the mud room. And it was so out of character. It's the only time he's ever done that in his whole life. He lived 13 years as a pretty large sized dog. And so we were like, what the heck happened that night? And he had been in this like leopard fleece vest that he loved. And whenever
So
we put it on,
cute.
he was like, let me outside, because he wanted to prance and like show everyone how he looked. And so he really loved that sweater. And he had this like big barrel chest. And it was kind of hard to get the sweater on and off. And that sweater was crumpled up in kind of like an odd way in a room that he would very rarely go in. It was like in the computer room / office, which he never really spent time in. So we were like, what the heck happened? If we've all been theorizing for years, I was like, a ghost took it off of him. And so we've all, when I said that we were meeting you, my parents were like, you have to ask about what happened that night, because we just could not understand his behaviors.
Yeah.
But you said that he was like, it was nothing, but then he got nervous.
Yeah, he said no big deal. And then I got a visual of a door and there was someone knocking on it really loud and it scared him. But before that, I got the image that or the feeling like he just wanted the thing off. I just want this thing off. He's inside, maybe it itched or was uncomfortable. He told me that maybe he was going to get in trouble, that he took the sweater off.
Oh. Well, the forbidden sofa is right next to the door. So if someone banged loudly, it would have probably stirred him and startled him.
Yeah.
I guess that makes sense that he was like nervous that maybe he did something wrong. But it's been a decades-long mystery at this point. Or
Especially
what happened that night?
How many ghost encounters and paranormal activity you experienced in that house? The assumption was that something paranormal happened.
And there were times that he did visibly look spooked from some of the paranormal activity that was going on. So
he could see.
That's why we were like,
they can see
gosh,
them.
Should we not leave him alone?
Right. Is there like a ghost tormenting him?
Yeah. We were scared for him.
My dog Rufus would stare at the ceiling in the bathroom because he saw they do. They see him.
They see.
Yeah. Like your cat, right?
Yeah.
My cat will like all of a sudden go, look at something. I'm like, what are you looking at? Or looking up.
Yeah.
They always seem to like be up in the ceiling.
Yeah.
For me.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
I mean, I always think it's amazing because I got Leia when I was in college, and my roommates in college said they would all know when I was home 2 minutes before I actually walked in the door, because Leia would run to the window and sit there and wait for me because she heard my car lock. I could park like blocks away and she could hear the sound of it, and she just knew that meant I was coming home.
So you were working your way home.
Right. And so all my roommates were like, well, Sabrina's going to be home in 2 minutes. Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Animals are so intuitive.
Yeah.
And I guess people can be too if we tap into
yes, we're all intuitive, and it's like anything. If you really put your focus on it with intention, your energy goes there.
Yeah.
You know the saying, energy goes where your attention flows, or something like that.
Yeah.
It's true. So you put intention there, you put focus, and you take some classes.
Yeah.
You'd be amazed
at
what comes through, and you get guidance. You get wisdom, you get love.
Yeah.
I mean, I will never look back. I would never go back to where before, because my life is so much richer.
That's beautiful.
Now. It's an honor and a privilege, really.
So how can our listeners, if they're interested in doing a pet reading, how can they find you, and what packages do you offer?
Sure. It really goes together because you want the whole experience, right? Mm-hmm. It's the pet portrait, which is hand-painted, customized to your pet. Mm-hmm. So it's a nice visual, and their energy is in the painting. Mm-hmm. So that's a cool thing.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
And it's paired with the animal communication reading, which is in written form. So you can pick it up, you can reread it. Mm-hmm. If you missed something or it didn't resonate the first time, you reread it a week later. So you always have something physical. So you have the painting and you have the reading. Again, it's an immersive experience. Yeah. You can buy them separately, but I like them together.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
I know I was telling Corinne, I was like, I definitely want to, I'll talk to you after this about getting a painting of Leia, because I just think that's special to just have personally too. Yeah.
Yeah. And especially with Leia's energy in it.
Yeah.
It's like your own haunted painting of Leia, basically.
I'll have 2 Leias.
Two Leias.
Exactly.
It's actually funny. My friend gave me a pillow that looked very much like her. It was like a cat-shaped pillow. Mm-hmm. She saw it, and I've never seen her react to something inanimate. She like puffed up her tail, like thought it was another cat, and it looks just like her.
Seeing doubles.
I know.
Her doppelgangers finally come together.
So I have to see what she thinks of her own portrait.
Yeah.
I'd be honored to. Yeah,
okay.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you so much for joining us and for doing these readings. They're so
thank
special.
You.
Absolutely.
And it's incredible, the gift that you have. And
thank you.
I think everyone will really resonate with all the things you have to say. And we have a lot of pet lovers out there
so
too.
Many.
So
yeah.
This will be great.
Well, thank you so much for inviting me. I thoroughly enjoyed this.
Actually, one last question.
Sure.
What's the strangest animal or pet you've been asked to communicate with?
I did a Canadian goose.
I'm so glad I asked. That's amazing.
Someone had a pet?
No.
Canadian goose?
It's part of one of the lessons we had. We had to go outside and connect into a wild animal. And this Canadian goose gave me a visual of laying an egg. And the knowing was I can create my own community.
Aww.
Because I was feeling kind of out there and alone with doing this stuff because, it's kind of out of the box with most people.
Absolutely.
And so the goose was telling me, you can make your own community.
That's so beautiful.
Isn't that cool? Yeah.
Oh, that's really cool.
And they certainly do have their own community.
do.
Oh, yeah, they do.
Large packs.
Big packs.
All over Massachusetts.
I love that so much.
Thank you, Sue.
Thank you.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank
I had
you.
fun.